Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we get to sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players and related music industry experts. If you love playing guitar, stick around. You're in the right place. Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber from Everyone Loves Guitar, and we're here with my main man, Jordan Greenwald. Jordan has the distinction of being the youngest human being on this show.
I'm happy to take the cake for that.
Yes, I think you and John Prentice, whose interview was actually published today, I think you're both 21. So,
oh, nice.
Jordan's 21. He was born in L.A., grew up in the entertainment and TV industry. His dad is actually a television producer. He picked up a guitar at a young age. He played it all over L.A. throughout high school. He came to Nashville. He went to music school at Belmont University, down here for 2 years, moved back to L.A. after getting an audition for a touring gig out there. While he was out there, he met the lead singer of a band called LovelyTheBand and joined up with them. In April, their first single came out, and they signed a record deal shortly after that, and it's a cool record. We'll talk about it. The band's debut EP is called Everything I Could Never Say. I like that title. How did that come out? How did that come out?
That title was something that we were working on. I mean, we were just, thinking about what the first body of music we're going to put out, and we're figuring out if we wanted to do a continuation with this EP and then maybe, the album next year. So that's why it kind of has those 3 periods at the end of it, So we wanted to do a little bit of a continuation for the record next year. So we kind of figured that one out with that.
I like that. Everything I Could Never Say. It sounds like a bittersweet romantic breakup kind of thing,
Yeah, that's kind of what we go for.
Yeah. I noticed. I listened to it. I'm like, this music is designed to get these guys laid, period. I don't think your music has any purpose other than that. It's just like to have lots of sex with like young girls your age, and it doesn't make you a bad person. Let me tell you that. Anyway, their debut EP, Everything I Could Never Say, came out September 22nd, 2017. I listened to the EP. Very cool. For people listening, I have to say it's kind of like, and bear this in mind. So I'm 50. I'll be 54 this week. So my frame of reference is completely, ancient with this kind of music, but and this is meant totally complimentary because these are great records. It sounds like Duran Duran at their peak,
yeah.
Rio crossed with, I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Echo and the Bunnymen. I've
heard of the band. I don't think I've ever really dove into it, but
check out this one song called "Bring On the Dancing Horses." It was good. Well, another cool name, but it's really good. It's pop music. It's very good music. Very cool alt pop. That's what I would call it.
Thank you.
And you see, I had a comment. You guys must be pulling all the hotties with this. No?
You can only hope. You can only hope.
Well, I hope so for your sake. And it's very good music.
That Rio comment. That song is awesome. The bridge. I know that bridge in that song has a ridiculous bass part.
The whole album is a great album.
It's insane, right?
High energy. Your album has a lot of, the EP has tons of energy, very high energy, very synth heavy. We'll talk a little bit about that, but it's all pop, it's, you're going to get people moving to that. All right, man. So let me ask you this. You grew up in LA. What prompted you to attend Belmont? Because I'm thinking you're right around the corner from Musicians Institute.
Yeah. So I heard about the Nashville thing right at my senior year of high school. And I had some family out there, and they're always like, they knew I played, and, that's kind of what I wanted to do with my life. So I was like, okay, maybe I should go to college. So I applied to 2 schools. I applied to USC because they have like their popular music program, because I was always kind of a pop rock kind of guy playing growing up. So I applied to USC, and then I applied to Belmont because I saw they had kind of a similar program to USC's, and I had all of my eggs, like 99% of my eggs in this USC basket. I got denied from that school, and I got accepted in Belmont, so I kind of graduated and was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to Belmont,
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so it kind of just brought me out there, and like I said, I didn't know about the Nashville thing. I literally didn't listen to a lick of country music until I landed in Nashville, and like probably in the airport. was when I got my first little exposure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Then you left after 2 years and moved back to LA. So yeah, what prompted you to go back?
So that was random how that was kind of came about. I always, since I was a kid, have put videos on YouTube of like myself playing, and I got a DM on Twitter from the singer of this project that that they were looking for a young guitar player. I was 19, maybe early 18. I was 18 or 19.
This is for your current band you're with.
No, this isn't.
Another band. Okay.
Yeah. So and they told me who it was with, and it was with these, development team that, were notable and this whole thing. I'm like, all right. So I flew back out. I auditioned and I got the call that I got it. And it was a sort of decision where it was like, all right, well, I feel like when you graduate music school or college, you're looking for an into something that I was being presented when I was a sophomore.
Right.
So I just kind of took that and took the leap, and it's all was a shit show and just trickled into, meeting people and everything crazy happening. But yeah, it eventually ended up, leading me to this band.
So, that's probably when you did that move. I think that took a bit of courage to do that, especially because I'm sure your parents, well, how did your folks react?
So I grew up in entertainment. My dad is a TV producer. My mom was a talent agent. So I always kind of grew up in it. So they know what it entails, I guess on the entertainment side, not necessarily like the music, but like they know the just the entertainment thing. So they understand like it's all opportunity based.
Okay. So they were okay with it.
Yeah. Cause I told them about it and they're like, so they were into it, and which is amazing. I have the most supportive family and parents around. So I'm very thankful for that they have been helping me along.
Okay. So it was, so it wasn't like, it was a bit of a leap of faith, but it wasn't like having support of your parents at that age, I'm imagining, made this a lot easier to take that leap of faith.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
Because I was in school, and when I was in school, I was still like playing around with, I was in 4 or 5 bands, different bands a week, just, going around Broadway, making money, the little money that I did, just kind of around town. And I was like, I could keep doing this, but, I explained it to them and they totally got it. They're like, hey, if you're feeling, they trust me. If, they're like, if you're feeling this is what you're meant to do right now, then we should do it. Like we were saying, the California kind of,
the universe is pushing me.
The universe is pushing me,
Well, that's good. And it opened up the right door. How did you wind up then hooking up with the singer of
So, so Mitchie Collins is his name. He was, he's been in LA.
Mitchie Collins? Yeah,
Mitchie Collins. He was in a previous project called Oh Honey, and which had, moderate good success. They had a big song out, but he was, he kind of was ready to have another project that was his own. He was like with another girl. It was like a duet sort of thing. Like
you're not related to Bootsy, I'm assuming.
What's that? No.
Okay.
So he just is around LA. And so the band that I was being developed in was, some of the people associated with that was knew Mitchie and was kind of, and they invited me out one night and I went out and I met up with Mitchie and we just kind of clicked. And he actually that night, he showed me the demos of this new project that he had, which actually wasn't called Lovely the Band at first. It was called, I think we were calling it Crybaby at first, but we ran into some trademark issues with that. So that didn't end up being called Crybaby, obviously. Right. But he ended up showing me the demos of these songs, and I was just like, wow, these are unbelievable. So, and it was a kind of a combination of that project that I left school for kind of blowing up internally, and then kind of the right timing where I met Mitchie, and it just kind of was a transition into, all right, well, this is what's going to be happening.
So after you listened to it, you guys had a meeting. He basically said, "Hey, do you want to come in on it with us?"
Yeah, because he's like, "Hey, man, I know you play guitar, and I know you're in your thing." He's like, "What's the deal with it?" I'm like, it's kind of imploding. Like some stuff isn't really happening. He's like, "Well, I need a guy like you to get this thing going." And I was initially like, "Well, is it like gonna be like a hired thing?" Because the band the band that I left school for was like it was like a band. Like I would be a part of like a band. It wasn't like a hired thing. So I asked him, like, is it a hired thing? And he was like, no, it's going to be like a fun alternative pop sort of thing. And the music was so my style. When he showed it to me, I was amazed. And I think that's awesome that the music was the first thing that attracted me to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it makes it more authentic in my head. I think it does.
No, I agree with you because 100% more authentic, and it's just easier and feels better, man, to do something like that.
Exactly, and it's like right when you showed me some of the demos, I'm like, man, these songs would be insane to play live. These would be so much fun, the whole thing. And I'm just like, man, has all this guitar in it, the cool synth parts. I'm like, wow, like this is really, really cool.
And you're coming from Nashville, so that's why you're asking him, is this a hired thing? Like, am I the studio guy? Yeah, right. I'm sure. Because it's interesting because I'm talking to guys now in New York and LA, and some of the work in LA is like that. But even there, and definitely in New York, there is no there's some studio cats, but usually if you're in, you're in. It's not like 100%. You're supporting the artist. It's like you're on the record, you're on tour.
Exactly, and it's a weird transition because I was touring with this guy named James Maslow, who was in a boy band called Big Time Rush that had pretty big success in like 2011, kind of that area. Like it was like a Nickelodeon sort of.
Wait, in 2011, what were you, like 14 or something? Or?
So yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Like middle school. So he went off and did a solo thing, and my friend called me. He's like, hey, do you want to do this tour with James, because he was doing a European tour to support his new record that he just had out. And this was all during the time that I met Mitchie and I left the band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like an interesting.
So it's like feast or famine opportunity wise.
Exactly,
yeah.
And luckily enough for me, I'm able to do both. I was able to do both.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so Lovely didn't start up until late or early spring, and I did that European tour with James in March. So it was like a perfect kind of seamless transition into it. But there was a point where I had to make a decision. I was like, okay, am I going to be in this, in this signed thing, or am I going to keep doing this hired gun thing with James? But I mean, me and him are very good friends still. We hang out all the time and,
right.
Do all the thing. But I kind of took the leap with Lovely, and, it's been working out so far. So very
awesome.
Excited about that.
That's good. Congratulations. I'm happy for you, man.
Thanks, man.
The, most of the time you pay tuition, you learn from the bad experiences. So what did you learn? Like, what was your lessons maybe that you took away after doing this first thing that blew up for whatever reason it blew up? What did you get out of that?
It was, I learned that putting all your eggs in a basket that you're not 100% sure on is a thing that you shouldn't do. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I think that, and I think, I learned a lot how to handle relationships and how to handle situations being in a band, and it being a democracy, and not all, it's that band dynamic is a hard thing to be a part of, because it's like a marriage where, and it's like a relationship where it's like you have to, you make compromises, you make sacrifices so everyone's happy, but also it's like sometimes what's right, so you just have to a thing to figure out. And I was young, I'm saying I was young 2 years ago. I was 19 in that thing.
But when you are 19, your coping skills and your communication and your processing skills isn't the same as it's going to be when you're 30. That's just the reality of it. The fact that you're aware of it is great, but yeah, that's a valid thing.
So yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. And I think that thing ending and this thing happening so randomly, it's just, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. What have you learned? Well, one thing I wanted to kind of like, not challenge you, but you said don't put all your eggs in one basket. But forget the music business, whenever you're in an entrepreneurial situation, it's a new project. To some extent, you are doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think putting all your eggs in one basket in something that you're 100% confident about is different than putting it in something that you're like 75% on. Even if you are like, this is going to be great. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just not the same when you're 100%. This is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it.
Maybe the authenticity thing comes into play too there, as far as, like you said, this music was like right up your alley. Was the other band, it was kind of like you liked it, but it wasn't like 100% match?
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah,
okay,
exactly that. I mean, and it's like I'm willing to do, still am and was willing to do whatever to get to a certain touring level and being able to do this full time. I was playing music and even in Nashville when I was playing 2-hour sets at a Broadway
Honky Tonk.
hotel,
Yeah.
honky tonk hotel in front of 3 people for $45.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it was. I was like, I'm just want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the mentality that I've had. That's kind of led me to where I am right now.
Cool. What did you get? What was your, you made an EP in the studio. What was your biggest takeaway learning from that? Because I'm sure that was a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. So this first EP, how it came about. So Mitchie, he's had a bunch of these songs on the EP and that aren't on the EP. He's had a bunch of these songs for, I think up to like 2 years. He's had them written. He's had them written and demoed out. So it wasn't until that, I came in and we wrote some new ones and kind of finalized different parts on different other songs was when we really started to dive into these songs and make them a Lovely the Band sort of thing, and not just, okay, so Mitchie's bringing these songs in, now it's like we're all doing this. But I took away, I think the most in this situation was, or in this process of this record cycle is, I think don't go into a song with like a part and think that, okay, this is the part and I'm gonna stick to it. Always kind of be open to change, I think, is what I kind of took from that.
The other guys, are they also band members or were they just hired out?
No, they were band members. We work heavily with our producer, Christian Metis. He produced and wrote with us on this EP. And the process with that is, we're there and he comes up, he has his synth part and we all kind of, I guess it's different with every track. I mean, songwriting is just different with every song, but a lot of the time it was we're in a room and Mitchie has a lyric and the lyric kind of matched with this synth vibe that Christian came up with. And then I put a guitar on it. It's Sam, our drummer. He has an amazing voice. He comes, he can come in and write. So it's really just a group effort that comes into that really helped this EP grow. So
this is probably what you were looking for since day one when you moved back, to have this sort of collaborative enthusiasm with everybody.
100%, and that's the fun. Then that's the fun part about being in a band, is having this product that you work so hard on, and you're so excited to show people that you're like, okay, this is our thing, and we're ready to show you. That's awesome, man. So I listened to the EP. The last song, that Strangers, you got to open up on a solo there on the outro. Tell me about that. It was really good. Like, what kind of guitar were you using? What kind of effects? What was going on there? Yeah. So we played a first show. Our first show was in June, I believe, at the Roxy, and is that like really cool? It must be really cool to say, oh yeah, we did our first show at the Roxy, because that's like, that was, come on, that's got to be cool, because everybody, like, that's anybody sort of like plays at the Roxy, right? Dude, the Roxy is amazing. It's one of my favorite venues, and I didn't ever. I mean, but in LA, it's definitely one of my favorite venues. It's iconic. It sounds great. Looks good. But anyway, so we played that show when we played the song Strangers, and my business partner and I call him my second dad. His name's Joseph Bon Jovi. He came up to me. He's like, there's just one thing in the set that you didn't have. It was like a big solo, because I didn't have the solo in that song yet. Oh, interesting. So he's like, there's one thing you're missing. It's just like, I wanted to see you wail. I just wanted to see you go off. And I don't get to do that in this band, but I love. Well, it's not pop. That kind of music doesn't usually have that. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Even though there is guitars and it's like guitar music, it's not necessarily I'm going to be shredding over. Correct. So anyway, so when we came back to the songs to finish them for the EP in the studio, that song came about, and the end was empty. There wasn't, or the last chorus, the outro was kind of empty feeling, because it didn't feel like the song kind of came to a big climax, because it's the last song in the EP, and we wanted to kind of go out with a bang. And Mitchie was just like, Jordan, just go wail on this. Let's just see what it sounds like. Just go wail on it. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to say no to that, because that's fun to do. Yeah, of course. Hell yeah. So say no. I'm not going to say no to that, right? No thanks. Pass. But he has a Strat. It's just an American, like 2005, 2006 Strat with a humbucker in the bridge. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, let's try it on this, because I didn't have any of my guitars in, because I remember it was like a last minute session, but he had that guitar, and we just plugged it in, cranked some gain up, and I just kind of played over a couple times at the end, and we kind of patched it together. And it was actually interesting because even there is a solo there. It's not like directly in your face.
No, but it's not background either. But yeah, it's not in your face. It's part of the climax, is what it is.
Exactly. It's not like, okay, this is the guitar solo.
Yeah.
So we figured out, with how we EQ'd it and how we put verb and delay on it to kind of bury it, but not necessarily bury it, but kind of it guides
the climax, though. I wouldn't say it's it's not about the guitar, but it does guide the end of the song for sure.
Sure, and I'm happy that people notice it, because that's definitely my favorites, and maybe not my favorite, but it's definitely one of my favorites to play live, because it's one of the more technical ones, and it makes me think a little bit.
Good, man. Why does that name Joseph Bon Jovi sound good? And I know it has nothing to do with Bon Jovi.
Well, Bon Jovi. So John is his first cousin.
Oh, okay.
And so Joseph is the president and CEO of Band Merch, which is one of the biggest band merchandising companies in the world.
Okay.
I mean, they do everywhere from the Who to, I mean, you name it, like they do it. But so they work with us, but I've known him for forever, and I grew up with him and his family. So
cool.
But he was the guy that kind of put it in my head. That I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's okay to do that.
That's good, man. In the kind of music you guys are making with alt pop, there's a lot of post-production. What was the biggest challenge along those lines on your end?
I think, like fitting into, it's a thing where, we're not writing like a Van Halen song where it's all based off of, okay, this is the riff of the song. I mean, Strangers is kind of like that, where there's like a reoccurring thing, but it's not like, okay, it's based upon this riff. It's a thing where I'm kind of figuring out how to fit into the track. So it's almost backwards. So figuring out how to do that was definitely a learning curve, and it's still learning. Every time we go and we play and we rehearse, whatever, it's all about figuring out how to fit into the big picture of it. As far as the production,
So that being said, this experience is really, in a sense, prepping you to be like, number one, a really good team player, but number two, probably it's teaching you how to improve your music writing skills. In being able to see and hear the full spectrum of everything, as opposed to, you're the guitar guy that happens to write music, where you're going to hear your voice primarily. Exactly.
And that was the thing. And this is the first project that's ever let me realize that that's a next step that I could take to my, musicality and my diversity of whatever, I'm doing, is that I can bring this now. This being able to fit in and write, opposed to, okay, go learn the solo and we're playing a live show tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's like you're getting a much broader range of skills in a sense.
Exactly.
That's really cool, man. Anything else you're working on now that you're excited about?
No, I think Lovely is definitely LovelyTheBand is definitely the main priority and the main thing for me, and we're very, very excited to take it on tour and have everyone enjoy it.
So that's a month after the album which is roughly about now. You're in high marketing mode for the record, I'm assuming.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
Where are you guys going on tour?
Yeah. So we have a couple LA things. I don't know when this is coming out, but there's a couple LA things on. I think November 6th we're doing something with iHeart and 98.7, and 7th we're actually doing the Roxy again, which we're really excited about. But we're going on tour with this band called the Rex, which are a really, really cool band out of LA.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if they're out of LA. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, they're
the Rex
really,
or the Weeks.
The Rex.
Right. Okay, that's a cool name actually.
Yeah,
that sounds like a hardcore like punk band. The Rex.
No, and they're punk. They're definitely punky.
Yeah.
They're really, really cool. They're great guys. So yeah, we're touring for a little over a month with them at the end of November. So yeah, we're really excited to do that tour.
Awesome, man. So we talked about you originally from LA. What was your childhood like? Both your parents in the entertainment business. You probably had like I've interviewed guys like in your situation, but more music. And they're like, oh, well, I've had so-and-so over my house. Like, was it like that with you? Like you had like,
yeah, it was a sort of thing where, I mean, every week I went to a TV set after school, every Friday when they were taping, I just went, and that was normal for me. Like that's just what life was. And I didn't know anything different. And I grew up by the beach. So we always went to the beach, and I'm making it sound very glamorous, but it was,
No, it is what it is, man. It's good. It's good. Kid, what are you supposed to do? Suffer if you don't have to?
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. Good.
Yeah, no, I was happy though. It was my parents are great. They definitely, I'm very fortunate that I got to grow up the way I did.
It's interesting that, guys that I have not spoken to anybody for the most part that, especially younger cats under, let's say 30, 35 even, that have not had supportive parents to help them to encourage and help them. And I think that's probably really important for any kind of creatives,
Definitely.
I got to ask him, what kind of shows does your dad produce?
He created the show Wizards of Waverly Place on Disney Channel.
Oh yeah. My kids used to watch that.
Yeah. So that's kind of,
that's where the New York thing came, because Waverly Place is in the Village, man.
Exactly. Yeah. He grew up on the Upper East Side.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I have family on Long Island, and I mean, my whole family is literally from the East Coast, and me and my sister are the only people born on the West Coast of my whole family.
I remember literally taking my kids walking down the street, and I was like, "Hey guys, here's Waverly Place, right off 7th Avenue. This is the show you watch." So it was kind of cool.
That's tight.
That's so funny, man. So moving forward, as you start this journey, do you have any thoughts about like what you want to do as, short term and even longer term, if you have a vision? And if you don't, that's totally fine. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I've learned even just the past 3-4 years of doing this. It's doing this professionally, I guess you could say. That you can plan as much as you want, and you could. I guess it's just life in general. You can plan, and you could make things up in your head that this is what's going to be happening in next week, or in 3 years, or in 2 months, or whatever it is. But it's just like you just never know, and you really have to. I mean, you can plan, but you really have to You really have to live, day by day, week by week in this sort of industry, just because you never know what call you're going to get. You never know who you're going to meet. You just don't know. And I guess that's just in life in general, with relationships or what have you. It's like,
it is true. We had a conversation like last week, week before, or a couple of different guys. And, there's a saying in, whatever religion or whatever people listen to, but you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Exactly.
So that's very true. That being said, you're still young in your career, and even though you're in with this gig, you still need to keep yourself sort of like visible. Is there anything specific you do? Making those videos is obviously a good thing because you've already gotten gigs from it. Do you still do those?
So it's an interesting thing. So my dad being in TV, I've been playing guitar since I was 7 years old, 6 or 7. So I've been playing as long as I can remember. And I remember I got to a certain point where I was playing full. I was able to play full songs, all the way through with different tones and different stuff. I think I was like 12 or 13 or whatever that was. But my dad was like, "Yo, just start putting things on the internet. Start putting videos." Like I remember I think like a Foo Fighters cover on YouTube when I was 13. And that was like probably the first thing that I ever did. So I've always throughout high school, when I was in high school bands and whatever, I always put things on the internet. There wasn't Twitter and Instagram, or I wasn't using Twitter and Instagram, that young, but I was always putting things on YouTube. And that's kind of evolved into, when I was in college, I would consistently put one guitar cover up a week on YouTube, and I ended up starting getting a little bit of fan base from it, which was awesome. And that got me to where that gig, because that's how they found me from that YouTube thing. But I learned how to market even just by myself on, figuring out how to channel an audience and, what have you. But now that I'm in Lovely, it's just always, keep putting things out there. Like put on your Instagram, your Twitter, always just keep feeding it. I guess there's different strategies for different people, because I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that don't necessarily post a lot and are artists. But for me, what I've found that's worked is just keep posting things and get people excited about what you're doing and have a great time. Because, when you show other people that you're doing something cool and having a great time, they like latch on to that.
Yeah, I would say I've been in marketing 18 years, which doesn't mean anything, but I've worked a lot. I've worked with 110 clients, over 300 clients in 110 industries. And I would say that putting good quality content out there is always the smartest thing to do.
Right, for sure.
And especially 100%. If you're fun and enthusiastic when you're doing it, which I know you are. What's your YouTube channel where people can find you anyway?
I think it's just you search my name on there, man. I haven't touched it in 3 years. I haven't put anything up there. My most current things are just I always upload to my Instagram, and now it's easier than ever now with Instagram, because they have these things called stories where you can just put you literally, put your phone on a table and you can riff out for 10 seconds and have 10,000 people immediately be looking at your thing.
Right. And Instagram.
But yeah, it's so just, keep current with what everybody's looking at.
Yeah. I'm not, because I'm old. I don't do Instagram.
You're not old.
I am. I'm old, man. I got kids older than you. What's your go-to? Let's talk about gear for a little bit. What's your go-to guitar right now, and maybe what other sort of top guitars round out your top favorites?
So I have this Strat. It's a '99 Mexican Sunburst Strat that my dad learned guitar on when he was raising me.
Oh, that is so cool.
And so I still don't even think it's my guitar, because so it really was a funny thing where I was 10, 11, and I got better than my dad at playing. So he's like, okay, just take it, do things. And so I've had that guitar since then, and I've toured the world with it and played hundreds of shows and I used that guitar in school. And so that guitar, and it's thankfully like that guitar transcends to LovelyTheBand, because Lovely, the sound works so well with it. So if I'm playing a show these days, I'm having that guitar with me most of the time.
Fantastic, man. And it's your dad's guitar. So that must be like a nice nostalgic, like safe and comfy feeling picking that thing up.
It is. But at the same time now it's like, I'm traveling around the world with it, and, it's going through baggage claims. And I'm just like, I do not want anything. Yeah. But you know what I mean? So, so I have that one. So that's been my number one for a minute. But I have that. We were talking about earlier. I have this '86 Les Paul Studio, but it's white, kind of aged to cream.
It looks great, by the way. I saw it. Jordan showed it to me. Yeah, it looks really cool. The aging looks really cool. Yeah,
I've always wanted a cream Les Paul. I just think there's just something so fucking cool about it.
What kind of pickups are in there? Are those like original pickups?
No, those are DiMarzio pickups. They're from the 80s. The guy who had it, I forget who I bought it off of. It was this guy put them in, and it just sound great. It's just a mean sounding guitar. Like I was telling you, I keep it in E flat, for whatever Van Halen or extreme I want to play. I can just kind of riff on it and just have the best time.
That's cool. And what's another one that you might have?
I have. So this was the newest one on my kind of arsenal. I work with been working with a guitar company called Sterling by Music Man, and they have a guitar called the Valentine, which is James Valentine's, the guitar player of Maroon 5. So he has a custom that, and it looks great. It looks like a combination of a Les Paul Jr. and a Telly. So it's super, so it's super versatile. It looks great. And it plays really well, which is really cool. But it has a really cool feature on it where on one of the knobs, it's like a coil tap, but it's a dB boost, and it gives you a little bit of gain.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, so I remember, I used it on a show in Philly for the whole set because it was like one fly date, and when it's just one date, I just was like, fuck it, I'll just bring one guitar.
Sure.
And that's a guitar I can 100% know I will nail the whole set with, because I can get a kind of telly clean thing, but also, drive it up with that boost thing. So that was really cool.
That's very cool.
And I've learned also, like, just with guitars, like if like that guitar isn't that expensive. I think that's like a $450 guitar.
Well, neither is obviously your Mexican Strat.
Right.
I mean,
right. Exactly. And it's a thing where it's like, you know, if you pick it up, and I have a thing where it's like, if the guitar makes you, or the instrument makes you play better,
Yeah.
then that's what you need to be playing. I mean, I've played, you know, you could play $30,000 top of the line custom guitars, and I'm like, play like shit on it.
Correct.
You know,
yeah, I agree with you.
So it's just something, if you're comfortable with it and it makes you sound good, fucking play the shit out of it, dude. You know,
I agree. I always say guitar, and this is probably not popular to say nowadays because I'm being exclusive, but to me, guitar is like a woman. And if a woman's not your thing, pick whatever gender is, you know.
100%.
You know, no matter how good they look, if you don't have that little chemistry thing going there, man, it's just not going to happen. You know, it's got to look good, feel right, and make you feel good about what you're doing.
Exactly.
So as far as guitar, who are your bigger influences as far as influences on your playing?
I grew up on a very heavy dose of Eddie Van Halen guitar solos. The Edge, his melodies, and let's see, John Mayer's his playing. Nuno Bettencourt was huge for me. I mean,
that's not a name I hear very often. I know him, Nuno Bettencourt, of course, but
yeah,
I don't hear that very much.
Yeah, I mean, the guitar solo on "Get the Funk Out." I mean, that's probably my favorite guitar solo of all time. It's just, I mean, his playing is just so clean. It's so, you know, but so I grew up on all that 80s stuff, and you know, very much that. So that's why when we were talking about Strangers, the fact that I got to wail on, I was like, perfect. I get to kind of tap into my my childhood.
Your inner Nuno.
Exactly. That's all I could ever hope for in my life. It's just to tap into my inner Nuno.
Yeah, but you know what? This is just your first thing, man. You'll be doing this a lot, and you'll probably wind up producing records, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think, you know, this day and age, you know, being able to do everything and enjoy everything is a very key component to have in the longevity of your career.
Well, not only that, because your dad was in that position, that's a very natural place for you to be. Right. Like evolution wise of your career. Not that you won't play, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that tends to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a probably natural thing for you.
Definitely. And I talk about that with, you know, my friends all the time, because I have a lot of friends in the entertainment industry and TV and that are my age, and they're, you know, they're PAing and they're working their way into the Directors Guild and all this stuff. And it's like I enjoy that as well. And, you know, I enjoy that whole thing, but it's just, I think it's just, you know, loving entertainment and being open to everything would be a great thing, for people to have. And I think that's cool that I'm starting to realize that.
Awesome. What's your, man, I hope I could relate to one of them, but top 3 albums, what's the first 3 that come to mind?
Let's see. Number 1 is Joshua Tree.
Okay. Yes, we're good. At least I'm 1 for 1.
Yeah, we're good with that one. Yeah, I mean, I grew up. I mean, I've been to
great album
9 or 10 U2 shows with my dad.
Wow,
you know, we're just mega U2 fans, and the Edge and Bon, you know, that whole thing. So yeah, Joshua. I actually didn't end up seeing this tour though, which I was bummed out about. But anyway, so yeah, Joshua Tree. Let's see. John Mayer's Continuum is a huge record for me. Mm-hmm. And his songwriting and his guitar playing is unbelievable. Let's see. And I'm going to throw you a little curveball here. There's an artist called Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean has an album out called Blonde.
Yeah, I know who that is, actually.
Yeah, and
I feel really good.
That record helped me through a lot of things. And that's just a really powerful record for me.
Shout out to Frank Ocean and Blonde.
Shout out to Frank.
There you go, man. You know what? I've heard, I had an interview last week with a guy that's I usually, you know, 85% of the people I speak to are guitar players, but I spoke to a drummer that I grew up with, and we played in bands together. I used to play saxophone, and we played in bands together back then. And he was telling me it was 2 situations in his life, and he's like a couple of years older than me, and so he's been playing professionally like 40, 45 years. And he said that there's been 2 situations in his life where he actually did a gig and wound up hanging around afterwards talking to somebody, and it came back to him to find out that the individual he was speaking with was all set to kill herself that night. And because she heard that gig and spent the time with these guys afterwards, she didn't do it. So, you know, music is just so powerful like that. Like, you reminded me that when you said, you know, you had a bunch of stuff going on and that album helped you get through it.
Yeah.
You know, that and music is just so powerful, and
that's the most freaking, that's the most fucking amazing thing about this whole thing, you know, with music and doing this thing is just, you know, being able to affect somebody in a positive way or help them and, you know, through whatever is just, it's so amazing that you can do that with, you know, your passion and how, you know, your writing and your playing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's fucking unbelievable.
It is pretty amazing. It's one of the few things that, like, you don't need to have anything in common with somebody else, and you can like the same band, and all of a sudden you have a lot in common.
Yeah, definitely. And even this is a funny story. Even like down to the this primal level of it. I went. Me and a couple of my buddies were in Venice, and we heard there was this huge drum circle, right? And we
in Venice, Italy.
No, Venice Beach,
California. Sorry.
No, yeah. I'm just so used to saying that here.
Yeah,
so
I'm like Venice. Yeah, sorry about that. Dime should have dropped on that quicker.
No, you're good. No, yeah. So we're like, oh, there's this huge drum circle. I'm like, okay, let's go check it out. So we went down to the beach, and it was on the sand. There was like 300 people all holding different drums. Just like, in like there was like one guy who was like had a whistle that was signaling what tempo to do, and there were just people dancing. And I had a moment when I was in that drum circle where I was like, nobody knows each other here, but we're all just being drawn to this one beat that we all somehow can just connect on in a weird way. And we were there for like an hour and a half. Like, it wasn't like we were just having the best time, and that fucking freaked me out. I'm like, shit, this thing's crazy music.
Now, did legal weed in California have anything to do with that night?
I think legal weed definitely had a little bit of influence.
Call me a skeptic, but I don't know. I just figured I'd throw that out there.
It was a good time. We had fun.
Well, good, man. I'm glad you did that. Most important thing your dad taught you?
Probably perseverance. When it comes to, I guess, just when it comes to life and relationships and obviously, you know, entertainment, because you could be on top one week and bottom the next week, you know, with your work or your, you know, whatever it may be. And he definitely has persevered through the years. So that's definitely a thing that I've taken away from him.
So you've watched him go through good times and bad times, and
oh, yeah.
the stick-to-itiveness that he had to hang in there.
100%.
That's a great lesson, man. How about your mom?
My mom, probably just not to be judgmental. She's so accepting and loving of all people and everybody around her, or strangers, whatever, you know, what have you. She's a wonderful woman, and she's definitely taught me to just be accepting of everybody, because you just don't know what the fuck people go through.
Yeah,
you know?
It's really hard to tell sometimes what's on the other person's mind, and it's easy to sometimes take stuff personally, but you have to detach and just say, you know, it's not my stuff, whatever, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's great lessons. You have any hobbies outside of music?
Yeah, I like to stay fit and healthy and active. It's a thing where it's more of a mental, well, it's also, you know, it's an aesthetic thing, but I absolutely love, you know, it's a mental thing. I mean, I go to the gym for an hour and a half and I watch what I eat, and it's an endorphin thing that, you know, it's also a thing that I've learned that I can control it. And I can't control anything else in my life, you know, because you know, pretty much like I'm in a signed band with different people, with a million different people working, you know, it's not like I can control really what's going on. So the fact that I can control, you know, my, you know, what I look like, how I feel, it's a thing that, it's like a drug that I guess is good.
Yeah.
It's a good drug, right?
Oh, it's great. And you know what? You started it like at a young age. You started primarily for vanity purposes, but as you get older, you'll see how much it's benefiting your health, because you'll look on Facebook. Like I look on Facebook, man, and I'll see some people, and I'll call my wife over and I'll be like, babe, please tell me I don't look this bad. And she's like, no, you're okay. Well, because people haven't take care of themselves.
Right.
It's not like I look great, like naturally.
You do though.
But thank you, honey. No, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, holy shit, how have you allowed yourself to decay And I'm thinking, man, you know, we got 30, 35 years of life left, hopefully. And like, what the hell, man? Anyway, but that's a good thing you're doing. So fitness, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Favorite and least favorite part of what you do?
Let's see. I think my favorite thing is being able to connect with so many people. Because, you know, like I said, everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own shit to deal with. So the fact that I can take them away from that for 3 minutes in a song is a pretty cool thing that I've learned. My least favorite part is, I mean, the traveling is insane. You know, I mean, you do these tours and you do these fly dates and you're just absolutely destroyed. You know, you get used to it and you get conditioned for it, but at the same time, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, but imagine you're a guy who's in good shape and you're not eating crap. Imagine the guys that are like getting off the airplane and eating McDonald's in the airport.
Yeah, exactly. What
it's doing to them, you know,
yeah,
it's like, man. Can't even, it's pretty difficult to even think about.
Yeah.
All right, man, what's your one unanswerable question? Like, is there one question you always seem to be asking yourself or you keep coming back to?
Yeah, I think probably why, I don't know. I always just want to do more, whether it's, I want to play bigger shows. I want to write better songs. I want to make better relationships with people. I don't know if that's a thing because I'm young and I just want, you know, I just want everything to be great and more, and, you know, and I think that's a thing even just with, you know, happiness. It's like being, you know, content in where you are with things is what I've found is what makes me happy. When I'm, you know, I can think of a couple moments where I'm actually like very, okay, I'm content with everything. This is great. Even if it's like a moment or like a trip or a relationship, whatever it was, you know, it's like, I've learned that's, you know, that's a thing that if you're content with the things around you, that's what makes me the most happy. So when I'm wanting more and wanting all these things, it's not like I'm not happy, but it's like, I'm always confused. Well, I'm always trying to get more shit.
I didn't hear you say you wanted to get more shit. I heard you say you wanted to perform better in your life at various things. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you say, well, I want to get, you know, another car. I just heard you say, I want to be a better player. I want to have better connect and have better relationships. I want to strive to achieve my goals. I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah,
I want more shit. There's a big difference.
I'm kind of putting myself down here. But
it's not that you're putting yourself down. It's not what you said. There's a big difference between the guy who, I think everything you said, I don't think it'll change as you get older. I think you'll always want to be, if you're a type A person, you tend to always want to, you know, get better, and you never think you're where you want to be, whether it's in the gym or, you know, in a relationship or in a band or in a work situation, you know, I think. And that's a good thing, you know. It keeps you hungry. You can't teach hungry.
For sure, right? That is it. Yeah,
you're either hungry or you're not, you know. And it's like, so I didn't hear you say that at all, man. Yeah, I thought those are all really admirable things. But you took away my last question, what's your definition of happiness? So I'll have to ask you another one.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's totally cool, man. It was awesome. And I don't want to ask you I don't want to end on what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on stage or in the studio. So how about this? This is a good question I came up with after I put your questions together.
All right.
What's one thing about you or something you do or something you like that people would either be surprised to hear or find odd?
Something that I do that people would think is a little weird. I'm very clean.
OCD clean?
Not OCD clean, but like I'm like obsessed with smelling great, and I just want to be, you know, I don't want to be the guy with bad hygiene. Like I just want to always have good hygiene. I think that's just what it is.
That's a great answer, man. It's
not even a clean thing.
That's
like,
a great answer.
Clean, but it's just like that's what it is. It's hygiene.
You have good personal hygiene. All right. Anybody who we heard it here first, Jordan Greenwald has good personal hygiene, and it means he cares, man. This isn't just a passing thing. He fucking cares, man.
That's awesome.
Anyway, man, you're an really awesome, nice young guy. I'd love to have you back on the show in a couple of years, man, because I know things are gonna rock for you. But where can people find you now online? Where can they see you? How can they connect with you? How can they send you money?
I'll put on my
make your pitch. Yeah. Now's the time.
Right. Yeah. No, you can find me on my Instagram and Twitter at Jordan Greenwald, and my band at LovelyTheBand on Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, we're touring. We're doing a month long with the Rex. You can go to LovelyTheBand.com for tickets. But yeah, next year 2018. We're hoping to be on the road for a while.
Awesome, man. And like I said, check out the debut EP. It's called Everything I Could Never Say. If you like pop music, it's really good. You'll enjoy it a lot. It's got a lot of energy, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. And you could tell these guys having a good time when they did it. Man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, man, you got your shit together for 21. I'm like really impressed. Seriously, man. You're really like well-spoken, smart, polite young guy, man. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. And again, thanks so much to Jordan Greenwald for being so candid and so cool and comfortable. I really appreciate it. And go to everyonelovesguitar.com and sign up to get notified about future episodes. And be nice. Go play your guitar and have some fun. Till next time, peace and love, and I am out. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.